Welcome to an incomplete guide to personal growth. We invite you to take a breath and take a listen to our podcast that explores the wonder, humor, challenges, and sometimes those self-inflicted wounds on a journey of personal growth.
Our weekly podcast conversations include stories, resources, and tools that you can incorporate into your daily life. We're the mother-daughter duo of Sydney
And Kelly. Hey, Sid.
Hey, Mom. How are you?
Good. I don't have another answer.
I know, I don't either.
I just, Jim Dandy.
Jim
How's that?
Dandy.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, I have an idea that we need to...
One sec.
Something's not right.
I just didn't want you to hit your pop filter, but I got it
Well,
for you.
now we have to do it again?
No,
We're just going to go with
you
it?
just keep going.
She just, for those listening, she just adjusted my mic.
Yeah.
So I have this new idea for an experience we need to go.
Okay.
Yeah, well, I'm sure other people have already streamed it, but the new ballet show... Etoile?
I think it's how you say it.
I don't know, but...
I was never a
Yeah,
dancer.
Etoilette. I'm not sure what it...
That's not it.
I know.
That
there's
is
no...
not
I
it.
know.
I know
So-
very little French.
Anyway, so I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Okay, and I really like it.
You want to go to the ballet?
So I think we need to go to a ballet next season.
It's not as exciting as you think.
I don't want to go to Nutcracker. Okay, but I've been to that. But I haven't been to other ballet. So
Okay,
maybe there would
yeah.
be some more
we'll have to
modern
look.
ballet.
Yeah, modern dance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Okay,
I'm going
we'll
to
have to
be
look.
watching for that.
Austin has. I think Austin
I don't know if
has
you've
one.
watched it yet, but it is.
I have not watched any of it yet.
Okay, well, it is.
need to.
It really is good. It's just like
Gilmore
the
Girls
hardest
and all.
part is, because some of it takes part over in France.
Oh yeah.
And so they're speaking French and they have subtitles.
And you can't
But
keep
it
up.
talks so fast. It's just like her other shows,
Yeah.
Marvelous.
Where it's that fast. Marvelous Mrs. Maisel
Yes,
and Gilmore Girls.
and Gilmore Girls,
Yeah.
they talk fast, so
They
they're
do.
doing this, and you're like, so, but it really is.
Okay, no, that's a good
It's
idea.
good. So but it made me want to go dancing, which is the purpose of that show, I do believe.
I'm sure. I mean, the ballet is cool, and I mean, I'd go just because I usually love the music.
Yeah, the
so.
music, exactly.
Yeah, there's some good ones.
So
out
there.
Okay, all right. We'll
new
look for some
experience.
new experience for
Okay.
sure. Now, what are we talking about? this week?
Oh, Sydney, I'm struggling with this episode
Okay.
because it's about images of God and how we come to them. Last time we talked about stages of faith and how our
Yeah.
ideas of God and who
Change,
God is
yeah.
and where they come from, how they sometimes change, how they don't.
Yeah.
And so in looking at images of God, it's not about trying to change anybody's image
Yeah. Yeah.
because everybody has their own interpretation of the scripture.
And all that's valid. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is just kind of exploring because I hear a lot about damaging images.
Yes. Yeah.
And if you're okay with your image, but I think it changes no matter who
Yeah,
you are
who
and
you are,
how
yeah.
you are. I think it does. So I really dread this
And
because
I think the word image I'm taking currently is like, it can be a picture in your head, but it's also just like the attributes that
the
you
attributes
associate
of God. Yeah, I don't
with
know how
God,
else
right?
to put it.
Yeah, I
The
don't know
images
either.
of God, the ideas or understandings of
Yeah,
God, maybe.
yeah.
How they change. And I found a credo I wrote
I know. Did you bring it?
over 30 years no. Over 30 years
I
ago.
wanted you to read it.
No, I'm not going to read it. Maybe next time.
Okay.
But looking at, because it's really long, looking at it, I can see where my images of my ideas of God have changed.
Yeah.
My understanding of some of the scripture,
Yeah.
the church,
Well, I'm going to ask you about it after
Different
you give a little intro to
things.
for this.
So, oh no. But one of the things that I wanted to talk about was there are people have been harmed by the church.
Yeah.
People have been harmed by other people. Yeah, I mean, by God, their parent, you name it. And so they're not by God, but by their images.
Yeah.
Of how people talk. And there are websites, and there's
Yeah.
one. It's National. I'll link the website.
Yeah.
Christian Recovery, and it's
Sorry,
and
I
it,
laughed, but like, wow.
I know, but it has to do with 12 steps and other things too.
Yeah,
but
but
it does
still.
talk about recovering
From basically like
an
church.
image of God that has been hard, that has been harmful.
Yeah.
And, only you know if it's
Yeah.
that for you.
For you, yeah.
And I think sometimes one of the things I think about is I've come to my understanding for myself
Yeah.
is I hope I reflect the God I believe in.
Yeah.
Because I know I have changed, and that
Yeah.
one way God, the judge God, the
Yeah.
justice God, tit for tat God.
Yes.
Yeah, I can't.
Can't do that. Yeah. Yeah.
But
Definitely.
anyway, so that's kind of where I'm coming from. And
Okay.
there's a book that's old as can be, old as Sydney almost.
Thanks.
I'm sorry. It's called Good Goats, Healing Our Image of God. And this is for people who struggle with that. And I can remember Sunday school classes do adult. It looks like
Adult
a children's book.
It does because
but
has
it's
like
not.
No, it's not. Yeah.
So
I know
anyway,
when I first saw it on the table, I was like, "What is that for Charles?" No,
yeah,
it's
exactly. But it's not. And it's the authors kind of struggle and how they came to. There's two of them that write it. Came from having a vengeful God
Yeah,
to having a loving God, and it was through human experiences that brought. Would you say human experiences that the sacred was involved with?
Yeah.
But that go. Wait a minute.
Yeah, that's not really
You know.
Yeah. So
Excuse me.
I think I feel like if you're raised in traditional Christian churches, like the image you're presented at the beginning is just old white man with beard,
Yes.
white beard, and
The pictures that we have,
and
right?
it's a God that is very right and wrong type,
Yes.
black and white. But at the same time, when we talked about development, that's pretty much what they need, right? At that time, is that type of image. Is they have to have that type of image.
And it is.
But I think
what
it's
do you-
when that image continues to carry over. So then when life is more complicated and that you can handle nuance, but then if you still hold on to this only right and wrong, vengeful type God, that can't fit in life.
No, and when I think of right and wrong, also then, how did you experience right and wrong? Okay. Did you experience it as shameful? Were you shamed when you did wrong?
Yeah.
Were you made out to be, quote, bad? Well, that's a bad boy. Well, no. That boy is still good.
Yeah.
That girl is still good. It's the choices that they made that they need to reflect on.
Yeah.
But the language, I think I hope it's changing. I don't know. I certainly tried that. And I know that when, as y'all were growing up, I hope I instilled the person's not bad.
Yeah.
The actions, the choices,
Yeah.
and that bit, but somewhere within we were
There's
good.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key that sometimes, depending upon your denomination
Yeah.
and what you raised, some people start out with we are good and there's grace. Others start out with we were bad, so we had to be saved.
Right.
We were bad, but God created good. God created good.
So how does that work?
I
know the question.
So it's that, and is God looking down and judging you with every move, or is God walking beside you, loving you and luring you, going,
Yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
You didn't. That's all right. I'm still with you.
Yeah. Yeah.
How are you going to learn from this?
And I like that idea. And I don't think it's taught very much, where you continue to evolve and create your own image of God as you watch other people. Like it should come from how other people act and treat you and talk,
Yeah.
And I think, that's not, I literally right now I'm like thinking, oh yeah, I guess, I had this good Sunday school teacher, and then I had this, piano teacher in my life. I had this, and it's like, I can gather parts of God from that. instead of just in Sunday school class reading these stories or just in a Bible study read. It's like, no, I think it can be more beneficial to collect your image from the world,
I think there are so many layers to it, right? How were you treated? I can remember going to, it wasn't my church. I went to another church for their vacation Bible school.
Yeah.
And because I could not memorize, I
Scripture?
didn't get a ruler that other people got. I didn't get things because I was not,
good
and
at
it was
that.
just, I know, and it was just, but it was real interesting because it left an impact on me of, too bad. It was like, and there were other things. It was just, it was not
a fit.
No.
My gosh.
But
So
yeah.
I don't know what other points you have to talk about.
Go ahead and talk, and I'll put them in there.
My question, what is one part that you wrote in your credo, whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
Credo that you really believed at the time, but you're like, that's not it, Kelly.
There was something I read. And I read it and I have to think at it. I was like, God created the church.
Huh?
To continue, and I'm like, that was written real weird.
Yeah.
It was humans that created
the church.
You know what I mean? It was for this purpose to nurture God, but then it became a political one.
But
it was, I was like, I wonder why I wrote it that way.
Yeah. That's
One thing I wrote that I still think is at the end, I said, well, this is what I believe today, and next week or in a year, I'll probably write something different. Because
you were true to yourself.
I was, right? And I do believe, I do believe that there was one true God.
Yeah.
And we name it all different things.
Oh, that's cool.
There is one.
Yeah. Yeah.
We just
call it different names. Yeah.
Yes, it's all, it's, it's, it's a oneness, it's a spirit, and Buddhists will say that, anyway, there's an energy, there's a thing, that we are connected. Yeah. And so that was different. I think I emphasized the Trinity.
Oh, okay.
And
I don't
always as much. I just think there's one. And and we say that, one with three, which confuses everybody.
It sure does.
But it's just that it is God.
Yeah.
And there's energy, it's movement, it's being. Yeah. I used that term and I thought being. A lot of people, that was big then.
Oh.
To move beyond
like
the term of God and the physical, so you just say being. And now I would say spirit and energy that moves. And it was so funny because I was thinking about this today when I was running. And I was actually running.
Yes,
just gonna say.
Wogging.
And no wogging today, man. It was cool out.
Yes.
And so I thought, God just, it's this energy. And it's not contained. And we spread it as we, you can walk in a room and feel positive and negative. And I think you can feel the mystery of the spirit. And right when I said, kind of like wafting, and right when I said that, a skunk had released, right near me, but you could tell it had just released its smell. And it was like, well,
That's
sometimes
hilarious.
it just stinks. But I think of being, I think of that. And there's a prayer that I say most mornings. And part of it goes, in you I live, speaking of God, in you I live, move, and am. And I think that's the way this God, this spirit, I can't move outside of it.
Yeah, it's so big.
It is this universe. Yeah. It is all.
Yeah.
And so I move within it and sometimes I'm aware that and sometimes I'm not. Yeah. But in everything I do is within this realm.
Do you ever anymore picture the spirit as like in a human form, like in your mind? Because I do, like, I can't always do like the whole bit. Sometimes I'm like, I need to have like something in my head that's like human looking.
I tell you how I do. Yeah, I do. And I think that we only have language
Yeah. Yeah.
when we want to talk about. Mm-hmm. And so what language do we use? Concrete.
Yeah.
We put human attributes because that's what we
we know.
can.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's how we know. And I one of the things that I do when I'm in my deep troubles, and I just need support, is, I'm in my little quiet space or not, wherever I happen to be. And I imagine myself being held. You know how you just hold a baby? Mm-hmm. Enveloped in God's arms.
Yes.
And that's what I'm at. I close my eyes and I just imagine myself being
Held, yeah.
as a child, as a baby again, just held and secure. And so that, in that way, I do.
Yeah.
I don't really picture,
Like a person. Or
not anymore, but the attributes of
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
I am held.
Yeah.
I am. And one of my favorite is that it came from a Buddhist koan about the boat moving down a river, and there's no wind, there's nothing, but it moves. There's an undercurrent.
Yeah.
And when I need to feel assurance,
That's what. Yeah.
Kelly, you're held. There's an undercurrent you can't see, and all will be well.
Yeah.
And all will be well.
That's cool.
And so, yeah.
Yeah. And so so what parts of like your initial image of God did you have to reconcile and like redo?
Yeah.
Because you grew up, not that you're,
No.
we talked last week, it's like we had grandpa who's like, whatever,
Yes.
just like this. And then Oma who's
Broad-based.
very concrete. And so I'm sure, and just being in church, I'm sure there are things where it's just like, okay, that doesn't line up with me, or I don't really like this.
I think that I was real fortunate. For me, we didn't go to a church where hellfire and damnation were a part.
Yeah.
And hell wasn't a big issue.
Yeah.
And I didn't believe in hell in that credo either.
Good.
And hell is spoken of as a dump.
Yeah.
It's a place where we take ourselves, basically.
Yeah, we
The
create our own
separateness
hell.
of God, and we create so much of that. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah,
We're not getting into this.
No.
Anyway, I had a loving thing, very graceful. I did not get in trouble for a lot. Grounded, but not shamed too much. Guilted
Oh, yeah.
a lot. Mm-hmm. Mom liked guilt.
Yeah.
And so I think that was part of my God image of, of shifting that to go, I don't think so.
Yeah.
And I'm sure growing up, and even when I went to college, at the very beginning, it was this one God Christianity.
Oh, yeah.
But I was not exposed to anything other
else,
religions, really.
Yeah.
Other denominations, which I might have thought, well, I don't quite believe that.
Yeah.
But I didn't.
Yeah.
And so my thought was one God. This is the
Right.
God.
Yeah.
And that, through exposure and reading and learning about those other traditions, I think that, helped me to go, oh, I see truth in that. Mm-hmm. I see something I can glean from that. And it overlaps and it weaves within my understanding of Christianity.
Yeah.
And who Jesus was and that type of thing.
Yeah.
So that, I think, it changed. From childhood, I think it was just this gradual acceptance.
gradual,
There was one time that I was, you would laugh at the music that I would have listened to. It was a Cosmic Cowboy song. Ooh. It was just real. But anyway, and I was very concrete in things.
Really?
And I probably believed in hell back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
And maybe it was just a justice. I don't know.
Yeah,
but that shifted.
That age they
Yeah.
want just like they.
Well, you
believe
need
in
this.
it. Yeah.
What is,
Yeah.
right and wrong,
Yeah.
and it go, and then eventually you learn right and wrong goes deeper than laws and other
Yeah.
things.
And it's more internal.
Yeah, it's very internal and going, oh man.
Yeah. I know. I
wish I
really.
hadn't.
And I know there are people that do, but I think because I grew up with you,
Sorry.
I just got lucky.
Yeah.
You know, it's just
Yeah.
like just the natural development, and like there's not really anything for me to like
Yeah.
reconcile about God.
Oh, do you remember when we were living in Tennessee? I will not name the church we went to, but you were about to go through confirmation.
I was about to go, and they were saying why all these other religions were wrong. Is that what it turns out?
Yes, and then I got a piece of paper that they said that they had also talked to y'all about in this class about if you don't ask forgiveness, then you're not
forgiven, right?
Then you're not a part of the fellowship of God.
Oh yeah.
And I remember reading that and going, I looked through and I thought, well, that's nowhere in our Methodist doctrine. That is nowhere.
Let me look at this book of discipline.
You are born. Guess what? You're part of God's family because you don't know any different.
Right.
And it's yourself if you want to exclude yourself later. But right now you are.
Yeah.
And you were baptized already. And it was like, so then we started looking at other churches. And I'd call and say, I would ask questions because I thought, I'm not going through this again.
No.
You know, I thought Methodist was Methodist. But there's a variety, which is the beauty of Methodist church. And very divided.
But No, see, and I don't think, and I would have never, grabbed onto that. I would have never believed when they told me that.
Yeah,
so.
yeah, I know. You'd go, oh, well, never mind. But, there are people that are take things much more concrete and literally.
You have to be careful.
And so you cling to that, and it can be a scary way to live.
Yeah, that can be a scary way to live, yeah, for sure.
But I think there are ways, and this is for people that, maybe you're going, I don't want to go to church because they will put this on me, because they will. Yeah. And look around. Call and ask before you even go. And
are there any people that you can think of, like from your whole life, and just be like, that person really contributed to how I view, God or the Spirit of,
Yeah. I have to say my dad.
Really?
Because no matter what I did.
Yeah.
And I did some things.
Yeah.
He just understood. Mm-hmm. And, and it was like, well, what can you do different? Oh. Did you learn something?
And I feel like that's rare for a dad of that generation.
Right? And my mom wasn't doing that. But my dad, my mom was pulling her hair out basically. Yes. But my dad was like, okay, Kelly.
Wow.
What do you do with that? I mean, there was just this grace about him.
Yeah.
You know, there was a gruffness too.
Yes.
But that was his other, but he really, as far as my, being, you're good, Kelly. You're okay. Yeah. Keep working. You're cool. Okay. So he was. And then I had a professor, Dr. Pomeroy, who I loved this man.
Is this the one?
That could go to the dentist without any Novocaine because he could get himself
he could just
in
meditate
that state.
into that?
Yeah.
Oh my God, amazing.
And he was Old Testament professor. Mm. And he was telling me one time, we were talking, and he got real frustrated. It was New Testament too. He did kind of both at that time. But anyway, he was real frustrated with me because I came in as this pretty narrow thing, this is the Bible, but what if you doubt, and I was in his office one time just talking to him. He said, Kelly, listen, you can go, just imagine there's this flat, I guess it's flat, and you can go over to the very edge of this round table-like sphere, and you can look over the edge and go, what if I believe that? And just wander around in your faith and look around, and then you bring back what you want. But you won't fall off. Don't worry about that. If you go to, you're not going to fall off.
That's cool.
Because God's on all over.
Yeah.
And question. It's okay. Mm-hmm. And because I guess he got tired of reading my papers. They were so concrete. And he was like, oh, I'm not getting out of you what I want. Yeah. And so that was just this, go and explore and don't be afraid.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's what I think of that. I think doubt is a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look and then come back and go, this is really mine. This is what I believe.
Because, like,
from my experiences.
If we think God created everything in us, of course, I would think he wants us to question a little more. He gave us a brain for a reason.
Yes, and to go, and when you experience things, you go, or when you listen to other people experience God in different ways, you go, hadn't thought of that. That's neat for you. It's not, and reading the scripture, I'm not a literalist, so that doesn't, when I read the scripture, it's like, I know there's truth in there. These people were mad at God. They're mad at these other people. You can look at our politics today, and this is the only time I'll bring this up, is that one is calling the other bad. Yeah. Well, look at the person. Yeah. Find that neighbor that has a different sign up than you. Yeah. Talk to them. I bet there's a commonality somewhere in there. Yeah. And there's a reason that their experience is that they want to vote that way. Yeah. And this experience is they want to vote that way. Yeah. I mean, there's
there's more to it.
Yeah. And that's the way it was in the scripture. There's so much, and that's the beauty of it. You can read it one year, and the next year you'll get something else out of it.
Completely different. Yeah.
Because you're at a different stage in life and you've experienced something differently.
Yeah. And so I think definitely, like, people shouldn't be afraid of getting away from the traditional image that we, are given of God and even Jesus and all, it's like that can just, it's okay. Yeah. For it to evolve, and it should.
It should. And if your family is in a safe place to talk about your explorations, don't talk with them. Yeah. Go do your own thing. Find yourself. Yeah. I mean, that's okay, because there are certain things that all family, that we'll just leave that one over. But, because they may not. But I think no matter where you wander, God's there.
Oh, that's so good.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you. This actually ended up being, it was good. I felt coherent. I hope our listeners think so too.
I hope so. I'm like, ooh,
but no, that Good Ghost book, if you're somebody that really, does need to reimagine their vision of who God the Spirit is, I think I looked through several of those actually, and it's really enlightening for sure. Yeah. And then you can find us on all the socials. If you have an image of God or something, or if you want to talk to us about it, we always love to hear comments for sure. Instagram, Facebook, email, all of that stuff. What do you know what we're
there's a couple topics that we're going to be looking at the next 2 weeks. Yes. One is just spiritual journeys.
Yes. Still continuing on this overall topic of spirituality and stuff.
Then I would love, because I know that there's a lot of struggle with your generation. Yeah. And the church.
And going to church in the first place.
Institution. Yeah. Things like that. And I'd like to really kind of explore some of that.
Yeah, definitely. So, cool. I'm excited.
All right. Well, we look forward to next week when we take a breath and take a listen.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode of An Incomplete Guide to Personal Growth. There are many ways you can stay connected. Follow us on Instagram at An Incomplete Guide Podcast, where you can sign up for our email list and get posts that delve deeper into our weekly topics. Make sure to subscribe to our podcast page wherever you listen to your podcasts. We would really appreciate a rating and sharing us with your family and friends.
We're so glad you chose to spend your time with us, and hope there was a thought, a resource, or a laugh that you can take on your journey. We'll be here every Tuesday for you to take a breath and take a listen.